Hi, this is Garry Chalk, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Welcome to Videoland.
Mega High! Wake up, Kitticorus!
Welcome to Castle Danger.
It's Congo Land!
Mother Brain will get you, little princess.
Princess, the palace is under siege!
Behold, the ultimate warp zone.
Kevin, I thought I told you to clean up your room. Whoa!
Captain N, the Game Master. Quit fooling around. We should have been at North Castle an hour ago.
Huh? Look, we're in the warp zone to oblivion.
Yeah, and I ought to leave you here. Mother Brain said turn right at the mirror zone, not left. Cutman, let's crush her.
With pleasure, Gutsman.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Ready? Tell me what I'm ready for.
Spring the trap.
I knew that.
Hello and welcome to Pixels in the Animation. I am one of your hosts, TFG and Mike, and joining me is TV's Mr. Deal.
Leaking lubricant.
Oh, Lord, you had to put an Ironhide reference in, didn't
Yes.
you? In this first ever Pixels in the Animation interview, we welcome the voice of Optimus Primal. I believe he was Mayor Squaresley and Captain N on the Tetris World, but I could be wrong about that. Gutsman
certainly was.
Oh, wow. Gutsman from the 94 Mega Man series, and of course, that ever-loving King Hippo, along with everything else he does, Mr. Garry Chalk returns to the Geekcast Radio Network after 5 years. Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
Excellent. I'd forgotten all about the mayor.
Well, because we just, within the confines of the podcast, we just recorded and we're about to release that episode in a couple of weeks. And when we got to it, I was like, hey, Mayor Squaresley sounds awfully familiar.
No, I patterned him after, he was a Disney character. He played the toy maker in that Christmas story, the Tin Soldier. What the hell was it called? It was about the toy makers and the tin soldiers marching, and all the toys in the store become animated. And he was the toy maker. He had a big nose, and he'd go, "Well, I don't know what to do."
Very awesome.
I can't remember the name of the actor, but he was pretty famous. Famous comedic actor in those days. And I listened to him one day. I went, "That'd be a great voice for the mayor."
It wasn't Edwin by any chance, was it?
Who? Edwin. That's exactly who it was.
Ah.
Wow. Yeah. Neil's up on his animation. He is pretty much an aficionado when it comes to certain stuff in animation.
That, and
Wow.
I also love old comedic actors from like the radio era.
Oh man, I just watched on television or on my YouTube Tim Conway's dentist sketch.
Oh, jeez.
I never laughed so hard in my life. Have you ever watched those things that he does at the end of the show, the Tim Conway on Carol Burnett show?
Oh.
Yeah.
The one with the monkeys, with the elephants with their trunks glued together, and he just
Yeah.
Yes.
he just makes it up. It's all improv at the end of the show. They're sitting around, blah blah blah, and of course the Carol Burnett and the rest of the gang, they have no idea what he's going to say. So if you watch it, it's just like it's absolutely hysterical just watching them.
Yeah, one of my favorite sketches is is a Stooges sketch. Take off your hat. Raise your right hand. Oh, gotta love that one. All right,
Love the
so
Stooges. Anyway,
what have you been up to? You've been doing a lot of stuff recently. What's going on in the world of Garry Chalk?
Well, I've got a lot of interesting projects coming up.
That you can't talk about.
I can't talk about. One a show about pirates, which is quite funny, and that'll be coming on soon. I don't know when, but it's kind of a nifty show. But again, we're sworn to secrecy, so we can't say anything. And then I've got Godzilla coming out May the 16th.
You're in Godzilla, the new Godzilla movie?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I have a smallish part in it, but I'm in it with Bryan Cranston, and I have all my scenes with him, and it's quite fun. So that's good. And then I got a Leprechaun: The Origins coming out, where I'm an Irish guy, and I speak with an Irish accent, like, through the whole second thing, and it's a lot of fun. So doing that, and I play the villain for a change, which is nice. And
it's very rare that you play villains.
Is that the WWE thing?
But every once in a while, I get to be a villain, and Cedar Cove got picked up for another season on Hallmark, so that's coming up. I start shooting that next week. Then another series I'm doing called Blackstone got picked up this year, so I'm going out to Edmonton on Sunday to start shooting that. And I'm now doing a pilot with Jamie Lee Curtis, which is kind of fun. And I start that in a couple of weeks. I'm working on that for a few days, but it's only it's only the pilot, so we don't know if it's going to get picked up or not. But lots of interesting stuff coming up.
Why don't you talk a little bit about, really quickly, Mr. Somebody? I just saw the trailer for that.
Oh yeah, Mr. Somebody. Now this is very cool, because what it is, it's kind of weird, because they take this drug called punch, and what it does is it just sort of, if you die, you wake up in another dimension as the same person in the same story, but things are a bit different. And I play the editor and the owner of a newspaper, and Dean Ellsworth plays a reporter. And we're after this new drug, and it's part of this conspiracy, and they've got these sort of men in black who come from other dimensions. It looks it's kind of fringy looking. It's a very neat webisode. I just saw the first episode last week, and it won't be on air for about a month or so. But the trailer is really quite good, and it's Trevor Marash wrote it and created it, directed it, and we've got myself and Rob LaBelle and Mackenzie Gray, I think, is in it, and Scott McNeil's in it, and I'm in it, and Dean, of course, and it's looks like it's going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it's my first web series. Yay!
Yay! First web series.
Yeah, moving into the 21st century.
Yes. Now, you've really, I would say, the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, you've really been popping up on TV. What are some of your personal favorite TV roles you've done in the last couple of years?
In the last couple of years, some of my favorites, I played an old Russian guy in The Haunting Hour, going after a golem, which was quite interesting. And that was a two-parter that we shot last summer, which was quite fun. Directed by Neil Fernley, and it's a kids series. I think it's on the Kids Network somewhere. The Haunting Hour, and then I did, of course, Godzilla, and what else? Lots of made-for-TV movies. One kind of a horror flick called Red Snow, which was quite nifty. Oh God!
I wish Alcatraz went a little bit longer.
Oh yeah, well they canceled Alcatraz because it was just too expensive to do, but it was such a great show.
Yeah.
The cast were wonderful.
Yeah.
There was what's his face? Sam Neill was the star of it, and I went and did a 1 day episode on it that was supposed to follow through, but the show got canceled. I was the villain. Another villain.
I saw that and I was like, hey, wait, why is Optimus Primal being evil? That's not good.
It's not good. But it's just been a roller coaster ride. There's been a lot of stuff going on. I'm very excited about Blackstone. It's a new, well, it's not a new series. It's in the sports season, but it's a native series. First Nations. It takes place on a reserve, but it's called Blackstone Reserve, and it has Eric Schwag in it from what's the movie with Daniel Day-Lewis? Deer.
Lincoln?
No, not Lincoln. The Indian one. Oh, like Hawkeye, but he.
I don't know.
Last of the Mohicans. He was the lead Indian guy in the Last of the Mohicans, and Michelle Fresh and Carmen Moore. It's all native cast, and except for some of us who were cops and detectives who were off reserve, so we're not natives. But the great thing about the show is that anybody who comes on the show who's playing a native has to be a native, has to be First Nations. So it's quite a thing for a lot of First Nation actors here in Canada, which we have quite a few, and some absolutely stellar performances in it. And a very gripping drama, but it's so funny because some friends of ours from church were a bit, they were excited to watch the show, and then he sort of, well, it's a good show, but the language is a little bit salty for our tastes. I mean, it's really salty, but it's very good. And Eric Schlag plays the chief of this Blackstone Reserve, and he's a gangster, the strip bar. It's almost like a native version of The Sopranos.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's pretty good. If you ever get a chance to have a look at it, it's on APTN in Canada. I don't know if it's selling in the States yet, but it's a really, really good show.
Awesome.
So there's that, and other than that, playing a lot of music, been singing a lot and playing around in different places, and gigging with my friend Dawn, and it was what I used to do before I got into acting, and then I got back into music about 5 years ago, and been getting a lot of requests to play in different places. It's kind of fun. I actually, my claim to fame, I actually got to do a duet with Carly Rae Jepsen 3 times. We did a song called Georgia on My Mind. You know Carly Rae Jepsen, that girl, the singer? Yeah.
Yep.
And my only regret is my wife didn't take the video of us performing it, because Virgin Radio absolutely loved it, but they didn't record it on video. I'm saying to myself, if I had recorded this on video, I'd be rich now, because she got over 1 billion hits on her stuff.
Yep.
And it's amazing, from this little girl a couple of years ago who was working at Brown's restaurant up on 4th Avenue. She was working as a waitress there, and then all of a sudden she's like this mega superstar. It was like, it's amazing. But anyway, so that's one little claim to fame. And other than that, doing the odd cartoon here and there, and got a cool one coming up. I don't know. I don't think I can talk about it. I don't think it's been on the air yet, so I have to wait until it gets on the air before I can talk about it. I have trouble with cartoons these days. They're so secretive.
Yeah, they are.
So
You know, we yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, what are some of your favorite voiceover roles?
Oh, one of my favorites, well, as you say, King Hippo was one of my favorite voice roles. Optimus, Dr. Robotnik, I really liked him. Grounder with Scratch and Grounder on Sonic the Hedgehog was hilarious. We had a lot of fun with that. Dogstar from Bucky O'Hare. I liked that one. One of the dramatic ones was the show called Exo Squad, where I played a character named Marcella, which was a stretch because it was a drama cartoon series, and it was very cool. Let's see, Hack and Slash. I just love those two characters. Well, Slash anyway. It was because we had to improvise all our dialogue, and that was always a lot of fun because you never know what's going to come out. And there's so many, and some of them they're so obscure, but were so much fun just to perform them. Metalhead, you remember Metalhead from G.I. Joe?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was a crazy character because I got to go out of my mind doing that show, or doing that character, because nothing was big enough. Go bigger. And we even did a heavy metal song called, in Metalhead, a retrospective episode on Gino Jai, where we had a shredder Metalhead rock and roll song called Metalhead, He's right out of control. And it was pretty cool. So I like that. So I guess I could say that, most of the cartoon characters that I've done, I've absolutely loved, because I love creating the characters and I love performing them. And people seem to like them a lot. I've forgotten. I mean, there's so many that I did that I didn't remember, like Mummies and I think Dracula was another one that I did. I just can't remember. Double Dragon.
Yeah.
All those cool shows. Scary Godmother. That was fun. But I got another one that was a bit of a challenge, but it was quite interesting because if you know your cartoons, I played Bluto in Popeye.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
remember that? There was a Bluto is called a Pappy's Christmas. Popeye, Pappy's Christmas on this Popeye animated special, and I played Bluto, and so I went and listened to Bluto on the old Popeye cartoons, and I went, but he's a black guy, and he has an accent that black people don't use anymore. It's all a Northern Yankee accent, and I listened to it, and then when I came to the studio to record it, the producers, I was talking to him, and I said, it's funny, he's a black guy. He was a contract bass singer for Paramount, and they had him play Bluto, and they improvised all their dialogue pretty well as well. He goes, no way. And I went, so I said, so Popeye, want to make a monkey out of me, huh? Well, we'll see about that. We'll see who gets all the oil. And the guy listened to it, and then he listened to the original, and he listened to me, and he listened to the original, and he goes, holy shit, it is a black guy. It's real, and it's for real, and that was a challenge, and it was a real feather in my cap. I really liked doing that one.
Awesome. Yeah, you've had so many roles over the years. You I don't know if this would be an obscure role, because I don't think I've ever... It's been a long time since I've seen this, but you were Santa Claus in Island of the Misfit Toys.
Yes, I was. Ho, ho, ho. The Land of Misfit Toys. I remember that. Yeah, and did I sing a song in that? My little boy or dear little boy. No, and I also played Blitzen and sang a duet with Debbie Reynolds.
Oh, sweet!
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
So let's talk about some video game cartoons. With Captain N, did you audition for any other roles other than King Hippo, or was King Hippo the one that they wanted you for?
I auditioned for King Hippo, and I also auditioned for Eggplant Wizard and Pumpkin Riley. I did, all those, but Eggplant Hippo was the one that I ended up getting. But I just, I loved the Eggplant Wizard. King Hippo was the one I got, but I loved Eggplant Wizard. I didn't do it. What's going on? But I loved that character, but I also loved King Hippo because he got to go, you pig. And, don't come in, I'm not decent. Trying to do King Hippo playing a woman is very funny. But,
how did you come up with that voice?
I just looked at the character, because that's what you do is you basically look at the physicality of the character and what kind of guy he is, and he has those great big lips. So I kept going, well, he's got to be lippy, and when he gets really excited, he sits there and he goes, and I went, yeah, that's him. And then you find out how he laughs, and he's got this, okay, Eggplant Wizard, let's go. My machine is going to kill us, And I thought that's the guy, because he looks like a big, punch-drunk prize fighter who's past his prime. So I came up with that voice, and they absolutely loved it, and well, I liked it too, and we had a lot of fun with that character. And I got to do a lot of other characters, like ancillary characters, like the guest characters. Like I played Stanley the Vampire Bat. And I remember, like, good morning, my name is Stanley. Welcome to my home. Yeah. And the mayor, and there were a few other characters. I just can't remember them at the moment.
Yeah. The Captain N voice sessions, were those ensemble or individual recordings?
They were all ensemble.
What was it like being in the booth for that series? Was it all, go to work, do business, or did you guys have a lot of fun and some outtakes?
Well, it's never really serious, crazy serious. It all depends on the director and the cast, but for the most part, we used to have an absolute riot. I remember the thing about Captain N, the Games Master, was that for a lot of people in there, it was their very first series, their very first animated show, and so they were quite nervous about what they were doing, and then all of a sudden, after a couple of episodes, people started to settle into their roles, and all of a sudden it became a lot easier, and we were very conscious of keeping the energy up and keeping the words clear, and in some ways it was a lot more fun then because everything was so new, right? I think it's been almost. Well, for me, I've been doing cartoons for about 31 years.
Yeah.
And I had done a few series before Captain N, like Kissy Fur and G.I. Joe, things like that. And it was just so much fun because we were still in the process of learning how to develop characters and how to hold on to them and how not to wreck your voice and mic technique, all the things about P-pops and all that. Working with a director and just determining what the terminology means, like things like, we're going to sprinkle a little pixie dust on that line. Yeah, okay. Bigger, harder, faster. Make it, could you make it, what was the most interesting director's note again. Could you make that more interesting? Okay, I'll do that. Could you bring it off the page, please? You know, I mean, I remember one direction from a well-known producer when we first did the very first Barbie. We did a Barbie called Barbie and the Rockers way back when, and the girl who was playing Barbie had never done cartoons before, and she's standing there, and the producer goes, "Now, we sold 119 million Barbies last year. We want to sell 200 million Barbies this year. And it all hinges on how you say this line. Go." And the girl burst into tears.
Oh, my God. That sounds like a Wally Burr session.
Oh, no, Wally Burr. Oh, yeah. You know, Wally Burr, it's funny. You know, some people had a hell of a time with Wally Burr, and you know, we're quite upset and we're hurt. But I always got along with Wally. I mean, he would ask me to do takes, you know, over and over a few times, and I'd just do them exactly like he said. And thank God I got a music background, because I can hear the tones and then mimic exactly what he says. So it was not that hard for me with Wally, but for some people, it was just a nightmare. And I remember for me, it was a bit of a nightmare when we were on a particularly long session. I remember I said, "Wally, if you make me do this again, I'm going to crawl down the phone line and I'm going to strangle the life out of you." But, oh, yeah, it was, you know, those were some interesting sessions. That's where we got the crescendo. You better get out of here. Get to this right away. You know, all the crescendos. And it got to the point where he couldn't even hear what he was saying himself, you know, and it was, you know, he'd said it so many times, it becomes a mantra. So we eventually get through the show, and it was great. But the one thing about Wally was that he really cared about the product, and that it wouldn't go out unless it was absolutely perfect. And he had all kinds of notes and little pictures and stuff on the scripts to help us get exactly what he wanted. So that was an interesting exercise.
Yeah.
And Sue Blue was wonderful to work with.
I'm sure she seems like she's a really awesome lady.
Really?
So we're also, and it's funny in doing research for you, because I was, by the time Sonic Adventures of Sonic came on, I was kind of getting out of the cartoon thing. Wasn't really, you know, I liked it. I thought it was really awesome. But I completely forgot that you were Grounder. And the funny thing about this podcast is Neil and I are going through every single episode of 9 different video game cartoons.
Oh, fun!
Oh, yeah.
We're actually we're in the middle of Captain N right now. After that, we're gonna do a couple more Mario cartoons, and then we're gonna get to Mega Man. Now, for Mega Man, when you went into that audition, outside of Gutsman, were there other roles that you had to?
Oh, there were other roles, but for the life of me, I could not remember what they are. I know I did other roles on the show. With Gutsman, Gutsman was the main one, and it was a killer, that voice. Like this. So it was a bit of a killer voice, but I am quite sure I did more than just one voice on it.
Oh, yeah. What were those sessions like?
Oh, those were wild. They were great fun. Yeah. No, we had a lot of good times on that puppy. Because Dr. Wily, there was a Dr. Wily in that one as well. And there was Mega Man and Gutsman, and I can't remember the girl's name.
Roll.
But they were, you know, it was myself and Scotty and Ian and Jimmy Burns, and Venus was in it, and Carol Rothery, I think, was in it. And Oh, who else was in that show? I cannot remember. Doug Parker, Shane Meyer. Yeah, I don't have all the cast with me at the moment, but
yeah. No, it seems like going back now because we've already done the Beast Wars and Beast Machines coverage on the network, and it's like I'm going back to all these slightly older cartoons than Beast Wars, and I'm like, hey, wait a second. All of the Beast crew was together before they actually did that show.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you guys did amazing work, and it's so interesting for me to hear. It's interesting for me to hear different takes on different characters from what I know that actor to be.
Yeah.
They're not very dissimilar, but Ian's Mega Man versus Cheetor, they're a little bit there's a slightly different tone, and then because he also did Wily. He did Wily on Captain N, didn't he? Yeah.
Yes. It was always, I'm Dr. Wily. And he would breathe in the middle of a sentence. It was off breath. So you want to go out, hey? It was quite funny.
All right, so let's combine Captain N and Mega Man. Who would win in a fight, Gutsman or King Hippo?
Oh, King Hippo, without a doubt. He had fists the size of Georgia hams or Virginia hams. Huge. And he was a big, blubbery guy. I mean, he would outweigh Gutsman by about 300 pounds.
Oh, wow.
But Gutsman was kind of a robot.
Yeah.
And Gutsman was pretty tough, too. So, I don't know. What Gutsman lacked in girth, he made more than made up for in speed.
King Hippo is not exactly fast on his feet.
And he's got one major
Twinkle
weakness,
Toes is not something that comes into my mind.
No. What's his weakness, Neil?
If you punch him in the gut, he pretty much goes down immediately.
Yeah.
He's like the break character in Punch Out. He's the easiest.
Oh
character. Yeah. But anyway.
I'll tell you one of the most interesting experiences I ever had. Did you ever watch when you were a kid Baby Huey?
A little bit, yeah.
Remember Baby Huey?
Yeah.
He was a giant duck.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to go, which way did it go? Which way did it go? I want to play too. Remember that guy? He was a giant duck. Well, they revived Baby Huey. And they brought the guy in, the original guy who did the voice of Baby Huey. And I think he was about 85. But I went and did a couple of episodes. I played his dad. And he came in and he started reading this cartoon. And I just died. I dropped on the floor because he sounded exactly like the Baby Huey I listened to when I was a kid. I'm thinking to myself, man, I was 7 years old watching this cartoon. Now here I am, sitting in a studio, doing Baby Huey with the guy who did Baby Huey when I was watching it when I was 7 years old. It was a bit of a mind blower, I gotta say.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Have you worked with any other legends like that?
Oh, I worked with Maurice LaMarche on Captain. Was it Captain N? No, it was Salty's Lighthouse. And there was something else I worked with him on. I can't remember. That was great. Billy West. I worked with Billy West on Popeye. He played Popeye. Let me see. The guy Spider-Man who played the guy who played Spider-Man.
Dan Gilvezan?
No, the other Spider-Man.
Christopher Daniel Barnes?
No, he was an actor on screen.
Oh, the 67 series.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell is his name? God, I'm sorry. I'm a senior, and I'm having a senior moment.
Oh, you're not a senior.
He played the Indian runner, and he was also in. Oh God, come on, Garry. Can't remember. But remember that Spider-Man, Debbie Reynolds worked with. Haven't worked with Dan Gilvezan or any of those, but I've been at conventions with Dan and with Peter Cullen, and I was with the guy who played Squiddy on SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was very funny. Little.
Now, have you ever done dueling Optimus Primes with Peter?
No, he won't do it.
Oh, okay.
Really?
No, just won't do it. So that's okay. Never mind. But we had a really good, some really good panels because we had 3 Optimuses there. We had David Kay, and we had Peter Cullen and myself. All that was missing was Neil Kaplan, and if we had all 4 of us, that would have been a real hoot.
Yeah.
Then we could have had an optimal off or an opti off.
Yeah.
So, what's the scoop on the latest movie?
It's coming out August 8th, or not August 8th, June 27th.
June 27th.
Yeah.
All
I'm just waiting.
All I know is that he rides a dinosaur.
I'm just waiting for the next Transformers cartoon because there was a huge deal late last year on IMDb where they announced Transformers Prime Powerful Alliances, and it was this giant IMDb article that had listed basically everybody that you could think of that had ever had anything to do with Transformers that is still around today. Everybody's name was listed as rumored, and then like 2 days later, it poof disappeared from IMDb. So I don't think it's a true thing at all. I'm not believing it whatsoever.
No,
but
I think somebody made it up.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see what the next cartoon has in store for that.
Well, I'd like to see that. That would be kind of fun. That would be kind of fun. I mean, if Peter Cullen can return after 20 years, I think I can return after 10.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Because I love doing the Transformers. That was so much fun.
Now, how did you feel? And I know this is the video game cartoon podcast, but since we're just having a conversation here, how did you feel about Optimus's characterization change from Beast Wars to Beast Machines?
Well, this is a tricky one because there were certain aspects of Beast Machines that I liked, but as the show progressed, Optimus became more and more internal and more distant from the rest of the gang. Mm-hmm. He was on this kind of a spiritual journey, and I'm going, wait a minute, that's not what I want. I don't want to be a navel gazer. I want to be out there wrestling and doing action stuff and saving worlds. But that wasn't happening. We were fighting against the planet, I guess, and Megatron and well, who was bigger than Megatron? Was somebody else? There was
nobody really. Huh? There was Noble, but Noble was Megatron.
That's right.
You were Dr. Robotnik on Sonic and Grounder. What's it like working with Urkel?
Steve Urkel? You know what? We never got to meet him.
Really?
Oh.
Never recorded with him at all. Him and Tails were a separate entity. The only people that recorded up here was Phil Hayes, who played Scratch, and myself, who played Grounder, and Dr. Robotnik at that time was played by Long John Baldry. Oh. And then in the first series, and then in the second series, Baldry couldn't do it anymore, so I took over for him because I could do Long John Baldry's voice pretty well because he's an old friend of mine. I've known him for years, you know.
Mm. Wow,
but
that's crazy.
Do you remember him?
I remember a little bit about his voice. Because I do remember the Sonic cartoons, but that's again one of the purposes of the podcast is for us to actually go back and really remember them.
Remember, his signature line was, "I hate that hedgehog.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scratch, Scrounger, bring me my sonic perambulator."
Awesome.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, well, Long John Baldry was famous in its own right since the 50s as a matinee crooner in England in the 50s, and he discovered Elton John and Rod Stewart. They both played in his band, and then Elton went off to do his own thing in the 1970s, 69, and he discovered Rod Stewart as a drunken teenager singing in the subway in London, and he said, "You'd be a really good singer. You should come with our band." And that's when they went with the Small Faces and with Jeff Beck, and yeah. Go ahead.
It kind of gives a whole new meaning to Rod's song "Downtown Train," doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it really does. I mean, it's quite amazing. That John Baldry passed away several years ago, and we went to his memorial, to his funeral, and we were sitting in the theater. It was just packed with musicians and people from all over the place, and we had the tributes from Elton John, from Rod Stewart, from Paul McCartney, from Eric Clapton, from Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, all these people that were like our icons, who were all good pals of our dear sweet John Baldry, who I thought was the most adorable guy. He was like 6'6", and I used to drive him downtown home after the sessions. Right, we'd work every week, and if I went 1 kilometer over 30 miles an hour, he'd go, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." And I said, "What's the matter?" He'd go, "Oh, too fast, too fast." And I'd be going like 30 miles an hour across the bridge, and he's like, "Wow." But he was such an adorable guy.
Yeah, very cool.
Anyway, interesting stories.
Yep.
But I love all I think in the last 35 years I've had the most amazing time. I got to work with some of the most wonderful people you'd ever have the chance to work with, like, Ian and Scott McNeil and Venus Turzo and Doug Parker and Maurice, and it was just like, you couldn't ask for a better life. And for almost 20 years, we worked together at least 2-3 times a week for 20 years. It was quite something.
Yeah, very, very awesome. All right. Was there ever anything in a script that you refused to say?
Nope. Nope, because those scripts were so carefully vetted before they came to us that we would never question the lines we had. I mean, sometimes I would say, "Well, I don't know could I say it this way," but I would never absolutely refuse to do a line. There was one line that I hated that Optimus did in the third movie. I think it was the fourth. What was the Dark Side of the Moon? Was that
the third movie? Yeah.
Yeah, the third movie, where Optimus goes, "Kill them all."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went, no. Optimus has never killed anybody ever in his entire life, his entire career.
The movies are. That's a more violent Optimus Prime. I'll put it that way.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite shocking, and I know a lot of people who were quite shocked when he said that.
Yeah.
He's always been such a gentle character.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he could kick ass, but he was, he was not a killer.
Yeah.
You know, and to hear that was a bit of a shock for me. So that's when I went, oh man, why would you do that? What is the point? There's no point. But there you go. That's just my personal thing, you know. All right, cat. I'm just letting the cat in.
Okay.
Come on, stupid.
All right.
Come on, let's go. The cat, it goes in and out like a yo-yo. This crazy character.
Maybe you should make him talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm just watching a video. I was just watching a video on YouTube where an elephant paints a picture with his trunk.
My God. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff nowadays.
Oh man, that was really quite something. But there you go. Yeah, there is some crazy stuff out there. Yeah. But the cats, my cats, I got 2 cats here, and they drive me crazy because every time I sit at the keyboard or try and read a book, there's a cat jumps on your chest or jumps into your lap and says, "I'm just going to sit here and claw the shit out of your thighs." Yeah. Get off. There you go.
Right.
So, what else? Anything else that strikes your fancy?
Would you ever return to King Hippo, and would you change his voice at all?
With King Hippo?
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that character. I love that character. It's a great voice, and the thing I loved about it was the chemistry between King Hippo and Eggplant Wizard. They were so opposite, but so funny.
I forget who was that actor who played Eggplant Wizard.
Mike Donovan.
Mike
was
Donovan.
Great.
Yeah, he was.
He was. His laugh just killed me. It was so stupid. It was so funny. I love working with Mike. He's a great guy.
The craziest thing about Eggplant Wizard is sometimes you really, depending on what is being done to the character. Yeah. If Mike is talking at the same time, they do the vegetable sound effects, and it's like, oh wow!
Oh yeah, you do that.
The vegetables always pop out of them.
And they all that crap. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I like that. But you know, he got the voice. Do you remember a cartoon called Droopy?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. No, I don't want to go work. And he did a voice very similar to that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's what, if you listen to Droopy and then listen to Eggplant Wizard, listen to Droopy on steroids or Droopy on speed.
Wow.
That's Eggplant Wizard.
Would you like to inform the people where they can interact with you online?
If you want to interact with me online, you can go to the Garry Chalk fan page, which is administered by Candace Santora, or you can get me on my Facebook page, which is just me, just Garry Chalk. I'm there, and I try and get and chat with as many people as I can if they come on to Facebook and talk to me. I talk to them a lot. Got about 4,000 people or so on there, and a lot of times, you know, we'll have like group chats and stuff on the Skype. I have about, I'd say, let me just see. I'm just looking here at my Skype list. Where are you, baby? Here we are. I have this one on Skype. I have one group. There's probably, let's see, well, probably about 800 people on there.
Wow.
Oh, God, there's so many.
So many. All right, well, we would like to thank Mr. Chalk for taking the time to chat with us here in this first ever Pixels in the Animation interview. We will ask you to hold the line, and Neil and I will be back after this.
Toss your salad!
So there you go, folks. I know there weren't a lot of questions that we asked Mr. Chalk this time around, but he told some pretty interesting stories and really, really enjoyed it and absolutely amazing. There are some other voices from the game cartoons that I do want to get on here. I would love for us to talk with Ian James Corlett again. I'll probably save that for once we get to Mega Man. Since he was Mega Man. But no, it's always a pleasure to talk to Gary. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, and he had a ton of stories. I mean, reason why I was kind of so quiet is because I would come up with questions, but then he would like answer it like while he was talking, and I'm like, oh, I can't ask that now. So yeah, but he pretty much filled the podcast, so I didn't really have to say much. So I'm kind of quiet, but you know, that's just the way I am sometimes.
Yes. Neil is the fourth cousin to Kevin Smith. All right. Join us next time. What are we doing next? Oh man, I gotta figure out what the heck is coming out next. Actually,
it's episode 26, I think.
No, yeah. People would have heard episode 26 before this interview. Coming up after this is episode 27, where there are some really middle-of-the-road episodes, I would say.
Oh, I know what those are, yeah.
So, for now, I am TFG and Mike with
TV's Mr. Neil.
Come back and help us find the pixels in the animation next time in episode 27. We'll see you later, folks.
Screw yourself, you pigs. My man Billy tells me you should be listening to Pixels in the Animation, because if you aren't, I'll punch your lights out.